Hello, friends, family, and the broader internet. I made a companion video to this that is meant to address my family and friends slash people who know me in real life and are watching this video to support me but don't really know what booktube is. And that's that video. It's over here somewhere. This video, the one that you're watching right now, is the video where I introduce myself to those of you who may be familiar with people talking on camera about books but are not very but are wondering, like, who is this blonde chick in a hoodie? So my name is Erica. I am 22. I identify as a woman, so she, her pronouns. I live in Houston, Texas, though I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia. I graduated from Rice University. Sometimes if I forget to zoom in my camera, you will see my diploma hanging out on top of my bookshelf where it's just sitting because I can't tack it into the wall because I'm not allowed to poke holes in my apartment walls. Yeah, I graduated from Rice University in May of 2019. I now work for the city government in a program called Lead for America, which I will talk about in the description box. I am an aspiring novelist. I write sort of YA crossover adult fantasy. So like I definitely write towards my own sort of age group, that weird like college, young adult version of life that isn't really covered in a lot of books. So like a lot of my protagonists are between the ages of like 21 and 26. They're actually 21 and 30 in some cases. They're like, you know, they just left behind their families and they're trying to like settle down and find a new life. That's a lot of like the stuff I write about. Or like trying to find what your adult life is going to be like, but in a fantasy setting. You can see my bookshelves behind me, my book collection. I definitely spend too much money on books, and I know that it's like a weird prerequisite on like certain corners of BookTube for you to buy way too many books and like be a bit overly materialistic about your books, and that's like not what I'm going for. It's just like I impulse buy books to make me feel good. That's like my impulse purchase thing, and so I do have a lot of books. I really like owning a book. I really like having it on hand. I really like being able to be like, oh ho ho, and now I'm going to talk about this book that I really like. By the way, read The Merciful Crow, it's awesome. So I have a lot of books and I want to keep a lot of books. I also like loaning my books to friends, so like if you know me in real life and you're like in Houston, or if you don't know me in real life but I can like get coffee with you or have coffee via Skype with you, I'm happy to like loan you books. I'm into video games. I don't have a camera, but I would love to become a Twitch streamer one day. It would be really interesting to me to talk about video games in a method like this, because I think there's an underrated aspect of kind of video game YouTube or like video game streaming in general, is that not a lot of people are showing like actual video game gameplay and like walking players or like watchers who can't actually play the game through a game. I'm really more interested in doing like some analytical work of video games and like talking about why story is really interesting and like why like what parts of video games are so appealing, and like doing that sort of more analytical work while also playing video games because I love video games. So maybe I will eventually, if I like this filming thing, move into that sphere as well. Drink a lot of coffee. I like oat milk. My main in Super Smash Bros. Is Peach. Oh my god, I didn't talk about any of my qualifications. Okay, what are my qualifications to talk about books? A, nobody really needs qualifications to talk about the books they like, but I am an English major and a political science major. Those are the degrees I graduated with. I graduated from Rice with a distinction in research and creative works, and an honors degree in political science. Sorry, the creative work thing was for the draft of my book that I turned in last May. So like I have technically like the training of like being able to read a book very closely and articulate an opinion about a book. A lot of my focus is more on the like political undergirdings and the political philosophy of books. It's always really fascinating to me to read a book that has a lot of thinking out loud about like political dynamics and family dynamics and what it means to rule and what power is and all of these sorts of things. Those are really interesting to me. I am interested in going to graduate school to get a PhD in like history or political philosophy. History of like something very interdisciplinary like human rights or like a history of power is kind of what I'm interested in. And so my literary interests are also along those lines. So those are the kind of books that I'm probably going to highlight the most and the kinds of videos that I'm going to create when I'm talking about books. This isn't necessarily just going to be a, here's a bunch of books I liked, and here's a bunch of books I read this month. Those are the kind of videos I watch on YouTube, the kind of content that I think is new and interesting that I can bring to the channel and the community is much more based in like this intellectual side of the like work that I do. So I'm hoping that those are the kind of videos that I will be making. Also, right off the bat, I know that a lot of people who engage with creative work are trying to avoid like the political situations of the world. I'm not going to be able to shut up about my political views, which are pretty that way. This is my left. It's probably your right, isn't it? Pretty that way, which is left. My political views are left. I also view all art as political, and a lot of the kind of themes that are happening in the books that I really like are political in ways that sort of provokes and ties into leftist thinking. So you'll definitely hear me talking about that in my videos. So that's up your alley. Great. You can go ahead and check out a video that I'm linking right here, which is about fantasy lesbians and who would they be if they were Twitter leftists in 2020. So if you enjoy that sort of content, that's the kind of thing that I'm hoping to bring here. That is everything I have to tell you guys. Thank you for sitting with me through this random introductory video where I like barely talked about books. If you liked it, I hope you stay here as I sort of explore this medium as a way to get more involved in the book community and actually like start interacting and putting myself out there. Thank you guys for watching, and stay safe and take care of each other in this time.